alive 23 times. That's right, you did. You've been around a long time. You're still only 5 years old. Yeah, that's right. Hey, there's a lot of people here. There are. And I recognize some people. Hi, Pastor Cleghorn.
Hi, Zeb.
Hey, he knows my name. Yes, he does. So you better behave because he knows you by name, and he might have to call you down by name. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble now. Well, I hope not. I hope you behave and you won't be in trouble. Have you got a story? Yeah, I have a story. I thought about a AAA story. You mean about the automotive club? No. Then I thought about a BBB story. A triple B story? Yeah. No, we're not going to do that. Well, I got a CCC story. Well, okay, what's your CCC story? It's about the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC. Oh, that's right. Back in the 1930s, the government people needed work. They didn't have money. It was during the Depression. And so the government came up with an idea that they could have a lot of people, a lot of men working as if they were in an army, and they called it the Civilian Conservation Corps. And they made some of the lodges, like over here at the state park, or some of the highways, like the Skyline Drive in our national parks, and they made cabins and trails and things like that so that people could enjoy the parks in our country. And so what happened? Well, you see, there was this fella. His name was Slick Collins. That's right. We've been in his home. Yes, we have, in West Virginia. And so what happened with Slick? Well, see, he was a young man at the time, and they sent him to a bird sanctuary. That's true. He was out in Utah at a bird sanctuary, and they were trying to, do things with the swamp and the land and the soil, and they had to use a lot of shovels. Yeah, that's right. And they kept the shovels in a toolbox. That's true, they did. So they had this toolbox out there, and it was in Arizona, and it was kind of desert. It was near the Great Salt Lake, where there's a great big lake that has a lot of salt in it. And so here was this swamp there, and they had shovels, and they had to dig, and they had to move the dirt and everything. And every day they'd have to go to the toolbox, and they'd have to get out the shovel. Yeah, but the toolbox had a sign on it. Yes, it did. It had a sign on it. And what did the sign say? It said, "Don't kick the toolbox!" That's right. It said, "Don't kick the toolbox." And, some people walked up to it, and they thought, now that's kind of funny. You have a toolbox. And they put a sign on there. "Don't kick the toolbox!" That's right, they did. And, who's going to come up and kick the toolbox? And for that fact, who's really worried if somebody comes up and kicks the toolbox? If anybody gets hurt, it might be the foot of the person who kicks it. But they did. They really had a sign on there. The men would come and they'd go to get their shovels every day, and they'd go to open it up, and they'd look right there, and there was that sign that said, "Don't kick the toolbox!" That's right. And, can you imagine an 18-year-old young man, and if you tell him you're not allowed to kick the toolbox, what do you think he's going to do?
Kick the toolbox.
You are exactly right. And so here's this toolbox. They might look to the right, they might look to the left, nobody's watching, and all of a sudden, they kicked the toolbox! they did. That's what they do. And so here comes a young man, 19 years old, He gets up there, goes to get a shovel, looks at that sign. His mama's not there. He's away from home for the first time. Nobody else, his boss isn't there. And all of a sudden, guess what he does?
Kick the toolbox.
That's right, he does. But as soon as he kicks that toolbox, see, the toolbox, it was just about that far off the ground. And it was out in the desert, near the Great Salt Lake and near the swamp and all. And when it was that far above the ground, and it's a toolbox like a roof, underneath it there was a shadow. And when he kicked the toolbox, out would come this snake. And it was a rattlesnake. And it might bite him. And so that's why they put a sign that said, "Don't kick the toolbox." That's right. Because you see, they had young men come up, and they had nothing else to do, and they weren't around their mom or dad or anything, and they just smacked the toolbox with their foot. Out would come a snake, and it'd get them, it'd bite them, because the snake liked to hide underneath the toolbox. So they put a sign there that said, "Don't kick the toolbox." And if you obey, then the serpent doesn't get you. But if you disobey, then the snake comes out and it bites you. Yeah, and it's kind of like that in the Bible. If you do the wrong thing, if you don't obey, then that sneaky serpent, yes, Satan. That's right. Oh, he loves it when you disobey. You think you're getting away with it. You think Dad didn't see you when you were bad. But God knows that you were bad. And Satan loves it when you disobey. If you're told to sit and you stand, oh, Satan likes that. Yeah, the snake likes that. Or if you're told to be quiet and you call out, oh, Satan loves it when you do that. Yeah, you can interrupt the preacher. Yeah, you can. But Satan loves that and God doesn't like it. God wants us to obey. And so, don't kick the toolbox! Well, anyway, you need to obey and not make Satan happy. You need to obey and make God happy. And I think it's time, little fellow, that you say goodbye to everybody. I guess I have to leave, huh? Yeah, that's right. I have to obey. Yes, you have to obey. Can't I sit with the girls? No, you can't sit with the girls. You have to obey. And go back in that box. Yeah, you have to go back in that box. Hey, Pastor, it's not air conditioned in that box. Well, listen, you have to go back there anyway. I guess I'll just point it out. Bye, everybody. See you later.
Bye, Zeb.
Bye, Zeb.
Hi, Zeb.
Well, I hope that you have learned that you need to
Hi,
obey.
Drake.
And if you don't obey, who's happy when you don't obey? Satan is.